Captain Man has survived explosions. He's fought some of the most dangerous villains in Swellview, and because he's indestructible, almost nothing can hurt him. But despite all of that, there was one day when Captain Man experienced something nobody ever expected. He got pregnant. No, this wasn't a dream. It wasn't a disguise. And it wasn't some alternate universe. Captain Man actually carried an alien baby inside his body. What's even stranger, the pregnancy wasn't caused by a villain. It happened because of one incredibly stupid mistake inside the man cave. And somehow, that wasn't even the funniest part. Because while Captain Man was dealing with his unexpected pregnancy, the rest of the crew somehow managed to make the situation even more ridiculous. So today, we're breaking down one of the strangest episodes in all of Henry Danger. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how Captain Man accidentally became Captain Ma. It all started with Schwoz. While working inside the man cave, he accidentally dropped a jar filled with alien eggs. But these weren't ordinary alien eggs. Sometime earlier, an alien rock had crashed into Captain Man's head. After studying it, Schwoz discovered it contained a strange organic substance, unlike anything on Earth. Curious to see what it could create, he combined that alien organic matter with the DNA of a honey badger, an alligator, and a yak. The result, a batch of experimental alien eggs. At first, dropping the jar didn't seem like a big deal. The real problem was something much simpler. Schwoz hadn't labeled the container. To everyone else, the strange little eggs looked harmless. And that tiny mistake was all it took to set one of the weirdest Henry Danger episodes into motion. Before Schwoz could fix the mistake, he left to get a proper label for the container. Unfortunately, that gave Captain Man and Henry just enough time to return from fighting crime. They walked into the man cave, saw the mysterious eggs, and immediately assumed they were something edible. Without asking a single question, the two of them decided to eat them. Instead of eating them normally, they started tossing the eggs toward each other's mouths. Henry tried first. He missed. Then another. Missed again. Almost every single egg ended up on the floor. By pure luck, Henry never actually swallowed one. Just as he prepared to throw the final egg, Schwoz rushed back into the room. He finally had the label, and he immediately realized what was happening. The crew desperately tried to stop them, but they were already too late. Henry missed the last throw. The egg landed on the floor. For a brief moment, it looked like disaster had been avoided. Then Captain Man looked down, picked up the egg, smiled, and casually said, 5-second rule. He swallowed it. Just like that. Only then did Schwoz finally reveal the truth. Those weren't snacks. They were alien eggs. And the moment Captain Man heard those words, he realized he'd probably just made the biggest mistake of his life. At this point, nobody knew what would happen next. Not Henry, not Schwoz, not even Captain Man himself. But within a very short time, the strongest superhero in Swellview would be dealing with a problem that absolutely no amount of super strength could solve. At first, nothing happened. Captain Man looked completely normal. He even laughed off Schwoz's warning, convinced that eating one tiny alien egg couldn't possibly affect someone as indestructible as him. But it didn't take long before Schwoz's warning became a reality. The next time we see Captain Man, everything has changed. His stomach had grown dramatically. The alien egg had somehow developed inside him. And just like that, Captain Man was pregnant. Now, you might expect the entire team to panic. Instead, everyone immediately accepted the situation and focused on helping Ray get through it. As strange as the pregnancy was, what happened next somehow became even stranger. Almost immediately, Captain Man stopped thinking about crime. Instead, his biggest concern became food. Not just any food, greasy food. The craving became so intense that he immediately ordered Henry to leave the man cave and bring him the greasiest meal he could find. Unfortunately for Henry, finding the food took longer than expected. While he was gone, Captain Man became more and more impatient, constantly asking where Henry was and wondering what was taking so long. Meanwhile, Back inside the man cave, Captain Man's pregnancy had completely changed the atmosphere. Charlotte and Schwoz quietly stepped into the elevator, not because they were going anywhere, but because they didn't want Captain Man noticing them. The only one left standing outside was Jasper, which, unfortunately for him, made him Captain Man's new target. Ray repeatedly demanded to know where Henry was, completely ignoring the fact that Henry was only trying to get the food he had asked for. Eventually, Captain Man became so impatient that he ordered Jasper to leave immediately and help Henry find the greasy food faster. As Jasper turned to leave, Charlotte and Schwoz quietly pulled him into the elevator, hoping Captain Man wouldn't notice they were all hiding inside. It almost worked, because only seconds later, Captain Man realized the rest of the team had been hiding in the elevator the entire time. Eventually, Henry finally made it back. For a brief moment, Captain Man looked relieved. His food had finally arrived, but that relief disappeared almost instantly. Henry hadn't brought greasy food. He brought a salad. That turned out to be the worst possible thing he could have done. Captain Man completely lost his patience. And before the situation could get any worse, Henry wisely decided the safest option was simply to leave again. At this point, Captain Man wasn't thinking about fighting villains. He wasn't thinking about protecting Swellview. His entire world revolved around one thing: satisfying his pregnancy cravings. Unfortunately, the hardest part of his pregnancy still hadn't happened. By this point, Captain Man's pregnancy had reached its final stage. There was no stopping it anymore. The alien baby was about to be born. Unfortunately, Henry wasn't there. He had already left the man cave to deal with the criminals who had stolen the city's supply of greasy food, leaving Charlotte, Schwoz, and Jasper to handle the situation on their own. For the first time in the episode, even Captain Man looked nervous. Not because he was about to fight another supervillain, but because he had absolutely no idea how an alien baby was about to come out of him. Charlotte wasn't exactly comfortable either. Helping an indestructible superhero deliver an alien baby wasn't something she ever expected to do. When she thought about leaving, Captain Man immediately tried convincing her to stay. First, he offered her the man-copter. Then, he offered her a raise. Charlotte thought about it for a moment, then accepted the raise and agreed to stay. Watching this happen, Jasper figured he might as well ask for a raise too. Captain Man's response? He couldn't have cared less. Whether Jasper stayed or left made absolutely no difference to him. Apparently, Charlotte was the only one he trusted. As Captain Man's labor became more intense, Charlotte suddenly realized something. If the alien wasn't going to come out the normal way, then where exactly was it going to come out? For a brief moment, even she didn't know what to expect. Moments later, she got her answer. With one final push, the alien baby came flying straight out of Captain Man's mouth. Not only did it shoot across the room, it landed directly on Jasper's face. And somehow, nobody seemed particularly surprised. The moment the alien was finally out, Captain Man immediately returned to normal. The pregnancy was over. The cravings disappeared. His giant stomach was gone. And just like that, it was almost as if nothing had ever happened. Almost. Because only a few moments later, Henry finally returned to the man cave. Chinese food in hand, it's hard to believe this episode actually exists. A dropped jar, one unlabeled alien egg, and Captain Man, following the 5-second rule, somehow turned into one of the strangest stories Henry Danger has ever told. It wasn't caused by a supervillain. It wasn't part of some master plan. It all happened because of one careless mistake. And somehow, that mistake gave us Captain Mom. If you thought this was the weirdest thing that ever happened in Henry Danger, trust me, it isn't. There are still plenty of unbelievable moments in this series that are just as crazy. So if you'd like to see more videos like this one, make sure you're subscribed.